Carolyn and Kiel Twietmeyer. I'm just so thrilled that they've come to us from Chicago. I don't know who's babysitting. That was my first concern. There are 13 children at home in the suburbs of Chicago. Folks, I'm just going to show this again because I think the December People magazine for many was an introduction to you. And how do I know that? I know that because of the response that you are getting from Canada to something that has become your life passion. Where did it start?
It started with the idea to adopt one special needs girl from India, and God had completely other plans. It started with a picture I received of 3 children, an older girl that was 9, a little boy that was 4, and a baby that was about 3 months at the time.
And we have a picture of those 3, the first 3 to become Twietmeyers.
Absolutely.
Now, and you already had 7 children at home.
Correct.
Before you began this adoption adventure. How challenging was that to get those 3 children to America?
That's really how it started with Project Hopeful. The immigration process at that time was very difficult for a child with HIV. That's how we started to spearhead a program to reduce that wait time, which was 3 to 9 months after the adoption was complete in country, to immigrate a child with HIV. And we set out to change that with an amazing woman and organization in Washington, and within 1 month it was changed and streamlined from the 3 to 9 months to 10 days and under for these children.
From 3 to 9 months to 10 days. That's what you call cutting through red tape.
Amen.
And that's a permanent, lasting change.
Yes.
Wow.
That has since been completely eliminated.
Now, was that an initiative of Project Hopeful, or did Project Hopeful, which you founded and lead, the result of making those first steps, Carolyn?
We started Project Hopeful first just in an effort to change that, and it just took on a life of its own.
You know, this had to take a little bit of work, but Hopeful has deep significance, and the acrostic you came up with really reflects your mission. So I want to put it on the screen really quickly so that you can see. Project Hopeful: help orphans and parents eliminate further unnecessary loss. What's the loss?
Time, dignity, and life.
Time, dignity, and life. Now, some people are still scratching their heads. They're just saying, excuse me, did I hear correctly? They have 7 children. You're a mom at home. You're not working, Carolyn.
She works.
Oh, yeah, please, excuse me. You work in the home. It doesn't generate income, is my point.
Yeah.
Kyle, you're a decorator.
I am.
You're not in a big income bracket here.
No, we're not.
Overseas adoption's very expensive.
Yes, but he's our Jehovah Jireh. He provides relentlessly.
And he did.
He did every single time.
Is this church support? Is this, how are you doing this?
It's our Father.
We set out with nothing. We didn't have anything. Adoptions are $25,000 to $35,000, and we set out with nothing and just trusted God to provide, and through various means He provided amazingly.
This is something He wanted, not just for you, not just for the Twietmeyer family, but this has ignited a movement, a phenomenon. But I want to come back to the dad here, because the mother's heart gets hooked immediately.
Correct.
And we're about to see a real heartbreaker in a moment. God used a chorus, a piece of music to win your heart.
He did. When we initially agreed that we were going to adopt, it was going to be one special needs girl from India, and God took my wife's maternal instincts and her heartstrings and put her focus on Ethiopia and these 3 children specifically. And when my wife first told me, we were at opposition, which I want to say is very common in adoptive families. And once, I just went to my father. I said, Father, look, my will, I completely want to be your will, so if you just please would make this crystal clear on what your intentions are for me, I will follow. And long story short, after me just being in prayer with him, I I was coming home from work one day. He did all these crazy things on construction sites where people were talking to me about adoption and Ethiopia specifically. And then one day when I was on my way home from work, a song came on the radio called Be a Father to the Fatherless This Christmas by Toby Mac. And it just broke me.
Just done.
So when I came home, I spoke to my wife, and she was very excited. And then we sat and talked to the kids. And when I asked the kids, what do you guys think about this? They looked at me like, what are we waiting for, Dad?
Isn't that
They were
amazing?
amazing. Our kids have been so amazing. Our family has been grafted like a miracle, just instantly. I mean,
what did I read? You know, instead of, you know, I mean, there is the loss of one-on-one time with the children because there are so many. But what's been added is joyful togetherness.
Oh.
I love that. Joyful togetherness. A lot of sharing space and a lot of helping out. Let's look at the next two pictures. We have you with Sam, I think, Kyle. And this, how old is he? How old was he when he came home?
He was 5.
5. Now this is the girl that I read about first, Selah. You actually met Selah when you went over to get the first 3. And what was it about Selah that was so heartbreaking?
I was sitting in the orphanage while my son was playing with his friends. He's also HIV positive, and they segregate HIV positive kids from the children that don't have HIV. So we were in the exclusive orphanage for these kids, and he was playing, and the doors opened, and they walked in with this little girl. 2 social workers came in with her, and I never experienced that sort of devastation. I saw just the looks on all of their faces, and especially this little girl, just terror and fear. And
she'd been taken away from her family, from her siblings.
Her biological siblings, her brother and sister, were caring for her. And
Mom and Dad had died of AIDS.
They had already died. They were trying to raise her on their own. My son, well, he's my son now, but 15 and 12 years old. The siblings were 15 and 12, trying to raise their, at that time, 9-year-old sister.
Very sick sister.
Very sick.
You came home, but you couldn't get Selah out of your heart.
I couldn't. I thought, you know, just based on our laws and things in Illinois, wasn't sure that we'd ever be able to be parents to her, and didn't really think that was going to be the line. But I committed to pray for her and thought we would advocate for her, and I would find her a family in a short amount of time. And that wasn't the case. 6 months later, I'd found out that nobody was inquiring about her, even to adopt her, and her health had declined dramatically.
She'd just fallen through the cracks and she was dying.